do it.
This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube, and today we have the legendary former WWE, WCW, AEW. He's wrestled everywhere. He's the host of the Party with Marty podcast on YouTube. He's going to be at the Blizzard Brawl, huge show in Milwaukee this weekend. Marty Jannetty, the original rocker. How are you doing today, sir?
Bro, I'm hanging in there, man. It's good to see you. Good to be back with you on here. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about this weekend because I've been struggling again with the health problems, and I'm not going to do anything but be a manager for the newest rockers, which would be Al Snow and Cal Hero, which is Dave Hero's son. He's the one putting on the show. Evidently, it's a pretty good show. They fill up the arena. For an independent, that's pretty good. Filling up an arena. I don't know how much it holds, 3,000 to 5,000, something like that. But for independents, that's good. But I'm just going out to the ring as got the old rocker, the new rocker with me and Al, and then with Cal, and they're the newest rocker. So it's the team's called the newest rocker, and I'll be out on the outside cheering them on, or maybe reach in and trip a foot or something if I can. But yeah, that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it, but a little bit nervous, like I said, because I've been just sitting around trying to heal again. Every time I'm just about healed up, something else happens. It's like, oh boy, here's another 2 weeks of sitting around. It's like being in jail, really, in the house, because I can't go anywhere when the ankles act up. Or most recently, I had an outbreak on me. It was real bad on my leg. It started like red dot. There was like red spots on my kneecaps, both kneecaps. It was just like 3 or 4, but it caught my attention. I'm like, what the hell is that? But I didn't think nothing more of it. The next day I woke up and it was covered down all down the legs and started coming up the thighs. And I thought, well, what the shit? I don't know what to do. I sent pictures to my doctor, but he's a foot and ankle specialist, is not a dermatologist or whatever. But by the next day, it was started coming up my body and on my arms and up my thighs and on my back. And I'm like, man, we got to do something. I'm panicking. And then I started getting, I don't know if it was part of the CTE. I started like blanking out, didn't know where I was, didn't know who was in the house with me and why she was here.
Well, CTE doesn't exist according to Steve Austin.
It does or doesn't?
He says it doesn't exist.
Shit.
I just got to throw that in there. Sorry.
Well, he'll find out if he keeps going. Hell, he's probably already got it. He's been knocked out a few times, I think. It's from repetitive concussions, which for us, like you and I have done shit in martial arts and football and wrestling, of course, and box for a while. I guess that'd be part of mixed martial arts. But there's been a handful of times of boom, like, when your eyes cross. Yeah, you probably just got a concussion.
Or hit on the chair on the back of the head with a chair. I've had that happen a few times, which you'll feel that one pretty good.
Yeah. I remember in Japan. I think it's probably the first time that I caught a good one. I was wrestling their light heavyweight champion, and he tossed me outside the ring. The metal railings. I fell backwards in my head. Doing, you could hear it all through the arena, and how the Japanese people, whoa, like they thought it was really bad. And I looked up, and it was like, I got to get back in the ring. There's like rings everywhere. I mean, my eyes were crossed. I'm looking in the ring, and I see 3 guys in there. I didn't know. I was like, get the one in the middle, Marty. Get the one in the middle. But yeah, there was definitely had to be a concussion for all that to happen. And then there'd been a handful of other times. Kevin Nash, when he first was getting going as Diesel, we were in England, and he went to do, that thing, the power bomb, and he over rotated me and bounced my head off the thing on the floor. And I'm laying there, and I think it was Joey Morella, the referee, comes over. I'm looking at him like, what's going on, man? I didn't know what was going on. He goes, dude, you just got knocked out, bro. That's all shit. Well, get me out of here. And then what were those? Not the Bastions, cue ball and 8 ball, the twins, the Harris twins. I can't remember what they were.
Yeah, what I forget what they were called, but they were in a group, right? At one
Yeah,
point,
yeah. And Al Snow and I had to
Disciples of
wrestle
Apocalypse, maybe. I don't know.
something like yeah, something like that. That Al
It
Snow had.
sucked. It sucked. Those are good guys, but it sucked. There was
Yeah, they're super guys, but
Brian Lee
yeah,
was in it too,
yeah, there was all that little
and
factions.
Crush.
Stuff.
Brian Adams. I'm sure you knew
Yeah,
him. He was also
yeah,
in it.
yeah. Everybody. I mean, all the different groups they had. The ones with Ron Simmons and Rock and Stavio Vega, I think. I mean, all of them. Well, at least Ron Simmons in there was funny. In the dressing room smoking cigars and shit. And with the damn. I mean, at least that one was fun, but all that was a mess. Is I think they were battling in panic because WCW was taking over in the ratings.
Oh, you
So
mean Farouk, the Farouk gimmick
yeah,
where he had
Farouk, yeah.
the stupid helmet.
Yeah. I'm sure he loved that. Shit.
He had really bad heat with Ahmed Johnson around that time, didn't he? What did you think of Ahmed? Because I don't know, it seemed like everyone was hating on him.
They kind of were. I don't know why. I mean, him and I were good friends. We'd ride together and cut up together. I'm not sure. I think I don't know. I'm just throwing my thought out there, opinion. I don't know if it's an opinion or what, but I think people thought he was getting too big, getting a big head, and that he wasn't. They didn't feel like he was very good, and he was getting a push. So I think that's what a lot of the resentment came from. I guess I don't know because I didn't see it. I mean, he was nice.
And it was in the days where you had to pay your dues to get a push for the most part, and
well, theoretically, yeah.
Yeah. Well, now nobody pays dues, so
No, you just go to the school and look good and act good and shoot right through.
yeah. It's,
Although I will say, they're tremendous athletes out there now. They don't pay to do. They don't do like what we used to have to do. You go through it before you get used well. But they are great athletes, man. I mean, it's like that in every sport. The athletes are getting bigger and better, and same with wrestling.
Well, also, if you only had to wrestle one day a week, you could have gone a lot harder in your matches, like they do now. They almost cut out all house shows.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
They're just doing them Christmas week. They haven't done any in the U.S. since July.
Oh, really?
And they don't have any after Christmas week until a European tour. So it's just going to be TV tapings now. And AEW has no house shows. So, I mean, I'm sure if you weren't wrestling 7 days a week, you could have gone a little harder. But you guys were the best.
No, I went hard anyway. I mean,
yeah.
7, we'd go like 30. Back then, we'd go 30, 40 days in a row. 25 was a short tour. 20 days was a short tour. But no, every night you give it all you got. At least I did. I'm sure Sean and I both did. We gave it everything we had. We didn't. Okay, we're getting tired, or let's pace ourselves. Never did none of that.
Hey, I remember a show in Ottawa here. I got to ask you about this. You came out on a house show and just interfered in a Shawn Michaels match. It was around 93. Would you still get like your full wrestling pay when all you had to do was interfere?
As far as I remember, yeah, whatever match it was. Back then, we were still not doing like the contracts like now. I think everybody from the beginning to from the opening to the last, everybody's on contract now. Back then, it was that old school. According to what match you were on, you got paid a percentage from that of the house, whatever the house was. So there's a bunch of variables, but I think if you even did a run in, you got paid for being that match. So they didn't cut you back some because all you did was run in. I'm surprised though. That's all. If I was there and I didn't have a match.
You didn't have a match. It was in like November of 93.
Yeah, that would have been during our split up. Yeah.
Yeah, you were just a complete surprise. So I remember the whole crowd was like, "Holy crap!" You came out in your jeans and stuff, and
Guns N'
you
Roses
busted it.
shirt.
Yeah, easy night for you. Speaking around that time, somebody sent me this picture, and they wanted to know the story behind this picture where you're with this lady here that appears to be trying to put you in a rear naked choke. That's Ted DiBiase.
That's not even the one I was with that night. The one I was with is taking the picture. That's Hawk, Royal Warrior Hawk, and DiBiase and I. It's Pensacola, Florida. We had gone by the strip club, and I gotta be careful. I don't want to get nobody in trouble. But that's so old. I mean, nobody can get in trouble now for that. And poor, Hawkman left us. Rest in peace. Miss him. But yeah, we went to the strip club and had some girls come back with us. Partied on, man. Partied on.
That's a
It's
big smile on Ted DiBiase's face for a guy that was married at that time.
he got. I shouldn't tell this, but shit, he won't care because I think it was well known, had been said before anyway. But we were in
He's
San Antonio.
apologized. He's already said he's come out about it and he's cleared
Yeah,
the air with her.
yeah. So this was before he apologized and straightened up and all that. So we were in San Antonio and there's a what was it called? I can't remember. TAs or something. The strip club there at Tits and Ass TA. I don't know. But anyway, we had grabbed a couple girls and the night before, and they were going to the show with us to spend the day and that night with us. And we pulled up to the arena. I think it was back then it was called the Freeman Coliseum. We pull up and Ted puts on brakes and he goes, "Get out, get out." And he's yelling at the girl, "Get out." And I'm looking in the back seat with the girl I'm with. And I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you making her get?" That's my wife up there. His wife had drove over from wherever they lived, Mississippi or wherever she was. She had a suspicion, I guess. And the thing was, she saw Ted from, it was like 100 feet away when he saw her and put on brakes and told her, "Get out, get out." She saw it. And I was like, "Hey, bro, just pull over to the front and drop me off." Me and the other girl got out and he had to go deal with that. And I think maybe that's where he went ahead and straightened out and apologized because he got caught red-handed.
Well, apparently he was still doing it with Sid because when I interviewed Sid,
Yeah.
Sid said they put DiBiase with him to try and keep him straight. But DiBiase was the one that was dragging him to the bars because he kept wanting to cheat on his wife.
Yeah.
And Sid is like, "How is this supposed to help me? I just want to go back to the hotel."
The thing that got me, and it was in Philadelphia one night, and I think Sid was there too. But Sid and me, DiBiase, I don't know. It seemed like there was one other person and a few girls. And what got me about this was we had just, back then we did a lot of cocaine. And we had just got an 8-ball, and 3 guys can barrel right through an 8-ball, and we did. And I think Sid knew where to get some, and Ted gave him the money to go get some. And Ted was preaching at the time. Ted was doing his ministry, and I was thinking, wow, you got girls over here, and you're married, you're buying cocaine, and you're gonna go preach Sunday. Yeah, damn.
Well,
He apologized to me. He came up to me. He goes, "Marty, I'm so sorry I did that. I shouldn't have done that. You're trying to straighten out." And there I was buying the stuff, and and my woman, I shouldn't have had no women. But I said, "Well, it's like you ain't got to apologize to me." I enjoyed myself. I was just surprised that you preach on Sundays, but you do all that during the week.
Well, apparently the whole preaching thing has been exposed at this point now, anyways, and he's in a lot more trouble than just his wife, or at least his kids are. I don't know if Ted got off on it or not, but he seems like a nice guy in my
Ted?
dealings with him. Yeah, so
He's
I'll
super
give him
guy.
the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
I don't know
he's
if he's
super good
found
guy.
guilty or anything. So,
Yeah, he's a super good guy. You can't help but
and he
love him.
wouldn't be the first fake religious wrestler.
Yeah, I don't know if he was fake. I mean, he believed it, but he still loved the other life. That's why he had come to me one time. Him and I hung out quite a bit, he came to me one time and he goes, I've got to get somebody to stay with me, or I can't be on the road because I can't. I'm not strong enough to fight the temptation. And I said, well, I'll help you. And yeah, but
Yeah,
and
he
I
would
think
have
he got,
needed to be with Backlund for that.
or I would say Vince, but Vince used to partake every so often. Back in the day,
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah,
Do
he
you think
stopped.
Vince is going to start another league because he's apparently opened entertainment company, and if you look at like everything else he's done in entertainment, it's failed. So why wouldn't he get back into
Well,
wrestling?
no,
That's the only thing that's done well.
yeah, well, yeah. I guess you're right. The boxing thing. The one time he did boxing with Sugar Ray Leonard and that Leilani guy, way back. I
Yeah,
think that was
WBF.
something like that. Yeah, I think that did all right. I know the Evil Knievel jumping the Grand Canyon didn't work out for him too well, and I
It seems
always
like they've
figured,
stopped doing the movies too. You know, the WWE movies that were
oh, they're
around for
not
a
doing
while.
those no more. I was gonna say that's his love. I think that was his passion all the time. He wanted to, do movies. Well, not do them himself, but produce them, and it seemed like he was going that direction, but I don't know. I don't know what happened. He always surprises me with stuff like, this whole thing with Linda McMahon. I thought it was a work at first. I'm like, nah, you know, because he keeps he's horrible about getting caught with the women, and sometimes the guys in the past. And then I had
Yeah,
heard, I don't know, but I had heard that she was very, is the word secrete? She was very secretive about being with the women, but so they had that. I don't know. I have to stay out of that because I don't want to say something that I don't know for sure. But although, I mean, it
Don
was.
Morocco. I just interviewed him in Hawaii. By the way,
Oh
great
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
And he told me that a little known fact, according to him, was him, Pat, and Pat's partner, Vince, Pat, and Pat's partner, Louis, were
Louis, yeah.
actually, there was more to it than just friendship between those three.
Oh, with Don
Because he
too.
was, no, Don told me he was friends with Louis,
Yeah.
and
Well, Louis
he
was.
got the vibe that those three were more than friends.
Well, no, Patterson. That was his. I don't know if it was his husband or boyfriend. Louis was. I know. When I had a problem in Germany. Uh, Actually, you know what it was? What I was talking about earlier when Kevin had over rotated me, it kind of goofed my neck up. The next morning, I was like, I can't turn my head. So I called back to the States to talk to Pat Patterson. See, like, I can't move. What do you want me to do? You want me to just stay on the apron? You want to, just have single matches and I'll be like the manager. I mean, I can't hardly do anything. I mean, it was so stiff. I couldn't. I had to do like Don Front when he turns his head out. His whole body has to turn to look. Um, so I called back to America, which it was 5 hours earlier from where we were, and Louis answered the phone. I said, "Hey, it's Pat." They said, "Who is this?" I said, "Oh, it's Marty Jannetty." He goes, "Oh, hey, Marty, hold on." I mean, he got hot because there was a guy calling for Pat. And then he comes back on the phone and he says, "Marty, what's the problem?" I said, "Well, I'm over here. I think it was Germany. It might have been England. I don't remember where it was. But I said, I'm over here and I'm hurt and I don't know what to do. What's he going to want me to do? Uh, Try to wrestle tag singles or what? What do you want to do? Put me in a tag to hype because I was doing single matches at the time. Sean had already split off, and I didn't know if you want to put me in a tag and just let me sit on the apron or whatever." And Louis comes back and he goes, he told Pat, and he comes back on the phone and he says, "Marty, Pat says it's 5 a.m. here. Call back later." Man, I got so pissed about that. I thought that was just like, are you kidding me? I'm over in a foreign country and injured and don't know what to do, and you're telling me to call back later. Um, I did call back later, like 10, 12 hours later from America. And I called and said I quit. And poor Vince, man, he never got to hear the reason. All she knew is he got me out of jail in Orlando where I lived. I had a girlfriend that she lived with me for a little bit, and then it didn't work out, and I booted her out, and she broke in one night, came in, and she was going to try to kill herself, evidently. But I come home and my windows broke. I come home late from a club and see this truck in the yard, and I'm thinking, my friends that always come over to the house and party, even when I was on the road, they go jiggle the sliding doors open and go in and party, which I didn't care. Except they left messages. I told them once, at least clean up if you're going to do this shit. Don't leave me come home after 30 days on the road. You got to clean up your damn Burger King bags and beer bottles and liquor bottles and weed all over the damn spilled all over the floor. But I figured that's what it must have been, one of them. Yet I'd seen the Colorado tags on it. I knew that was. I was like, fuck. She came back. I flew her home and told her, like, it was right before the Survivor Series. I flew her home and told her to visit her family till I got back. And we went and I flew out to wherever that Survivor Series was. Being the kid ended up being the final two. We won it, our match, and you could see me gimping around though. We had a car wreck the night before. That's why I wanted to get rid of her, get her out of there, because I had 3 near deaths in 6 weeks being with her. So it was like, if you don't get her out of here, you're going to die. But I told her to go home and be with her family for Thanksgiving. And when I got back, I packed all of her shit in a big ass box and shipped it out to Colorado where she was at and said, don't come back. But she broke in and there was a big ass. I was so mad when I saw the busted window and I realized Colorado is her. And she busted my damn window to get in. And I was so mad. I've got the keys in my pocket to my door, but I'm so mad I crawled through the damn hole too at the broken window. It was like a tunnel hole. I crawled through that, got a little cut on my arm, and I heard music playing upstairs in one of the bedrooms, and I was like, man, what the fuck's she doing? And I went up and went to open the door, and it was locked. And I thought, she's in there fucking somebody. Holy shit. She came in here and brought somebody, and I tried to jiggle the door open. I went to the ticket open, and she had pulled the dresser over. That's when I really got like, what the fuck? And I kicked the door off the hinges. It bounced over, and she was standing there on a bar stool. She had made a little noose. This is how goofy the damn girl was. She's got one of my stretchy leg ties for the rocker outfits. It just stretched down to the floor if she would have hung herself. And she got it on a plant hook. I mean, she was tiny. She was like only 100 pounds, like 5 foot, 100 pounds, 5'1". And that's still enough. It would have pulled the plant hook out, I guess. But I mean, when I seen her like going to trying to get the damn noose around her neck, and I went and shoved her off the thing. I said, what are you doing? And she jumped up and ran down the street, and police ended up coming, and they arrested me, or yeah, I guess they arrested me. They took me, yeah. And they were, when we were sitting there talking about it, I was telling them, I said, why would you take me in? And, she said, no, I don't want him arrested. I don't want him arrested. She's sitting right there too. And they were like, well, we've just passed a law in Florida where if we're called to the scene of a domestic, dispute, we have to take somebody in. It's a law now. It just passed. Figures. I said, well, if you got to take somebody in, take her in. She broke in my window with glass, the window right there, and she was upstairs trying to hang herself. And he said, well, just how long she been gone? I said, I don't know, a week. He goes, well, if she's got mail here and she's been here in the last 6 months or something like that, he goes, it's still her resident. She's not breaking in. It's her place.
They always
too.
take the guy. I could tell you that from my own experience.
Yeah.
Being exonerated after being attacked with a weapon, they still took me. But it's stupid.
And you know what the policeman did? The one, they knew me. They'd been to the house before a few times because the parties got pretty wild. The one officer, and I recognized him, but he looked at me and I said, well, take her. She's the one that did every damn thing. One of the other officers because I said she tried to hang herself. He went upstairs to look at it and see, which it was real. It was up there. But she was sitting there like crying. She was a very pretty little Spanish girl, 5 foot tall. I mean, she was small, about 100, maybe 95 pounds. And so this is what the officer told me. He said, Marty, at the time I was in the prime of my wrestling. I was, 230 pounds, kind of muscled up a little, unlike now. But he looked at me and he goes, I said, take her. And he looks at me and goes, Marty, we would be the laughing stock. You're a big, tough, rumble wrestler, and we're going to take that little girl in over taking you in. I said, that's the criteria because I'm big and she's little. What the hell? I said, all right, let's go. And I got mad as shit because I was like, that's what they're, like you said, they're going to take the guy. That's all he said the reasoning, because I was a big wrestler and she was like a little petite girl. That's the reason they took me. What pissed me off when I got down to the jail, the lieutenant or sergeant or whatever he was, he recognized me and he was like, he took me on a tour. Like, here's some of the guys that been on TV lately. This is, what's his name? You remember this guy that murdered? That's him. And I'm taking this tour and I'm sitting there and finally, he says, well, you're going to try to bond out, aren't you? And I said, no, I'm going to stay here. And I got a foreign tour coming up. But I'm going to stay here and let the TV people know what y'all did. You arrested me because I'm a big wrestler and that girl's little. That's all right. We'll get it on TV. He goes, oh, Marty, don't do that to us. Don't do that to us. But I wasn't going to, I was going to stay there and do that. But I had to call Vince. They give you, your call. I called Vince and let him know what was up. And it was like, I don't know, 6 a.m. or something. And he's, Marty, what's going on? I said, I'm in jail, and told him why. And, she had broke in and they considered it domestic dispute. And so they took me in. Vince saying, well, they can't do that. I said, well, Vince, I'm in jail. He said, well, he goes, what do you got to do? You got to make your flight today. I said, no, I'm going to sit here and get on TV and tell them what these people did. These police people did here. And he's like, well, Marty, I need you on that tour more than you need to make a point, of what they did. And he goes, let me talk to them. And now, so they kept telling me it's just going to be $300. It's just be $300. You got $300, Marty. I said, I do, but I'm not doing it. But then Vince got on the phone with them. This is the power Vince has got, right? And they come back and said, you're free to go, Marty. I said, what? Yeah, he said, Vince took care of everything. You're good to go. And so I did. Had to rush to get to the airport, make my flight. And that's what happened. The first day of the tour, Kevin knocked me out with a power bomb. And then Pat didn't take my call. So I quit. So you can imagine how Vince felt, like I stabbed him in the back. He did all that to get me over there, and then I quit. And because he never heard the actual story. I never told him. I never talked to him for a year and a half. And I finally told him what was up, and that's when he brought me back. He goes, oh, I didn't know that. Nobody told me that. And so he brought me back again. It's amazing how many times I've been let go.
Yeah, who holds the record? Back. You or the Sheik? Because there's always people saying,
I think I got him by one.
And he's dead now, so you're going to be brought back again at some point.
Maybe for the Hall of Fame, if I make it.
Dude, as you said, but Sean's got to go in the third time, right?
I figured that would have happened a while back. I mean, because Sean being Sean, he'll want to be the only 3-time. But so far, I think what it is too is they're still hesitant that because they see and hear about.
By the way.
What's that? Oh yeah,
that's you and Sean, by the way.
That's in Toronto, I believe. Somewhere up in Canada, but I believe it was Toronto. One of our party nights. So it was like day 30 on the road. But yeah, man.
Do you think like being on the road like that long and the partying made for more interesting characters? Because as you said, they're better athletes now. But back in the 80s and early 90s, everybody knew every wrestler on the card. Now, other than the top guys, they kind of all blend together, and they
Yeah, because
seem like
they run them through so fast. You know, the turnover rate is boom. They're here today, gone tomorrow. In comes a new crew. I think I like the setup they got, like with the NXT, and you know, like being the farm club. You know, for like baseball, they call them farm teams. Being like the farm school for them to get ready, and then bring them up. I mean, I think that's great. That was a very brilliant move, and having the complex down there in Orlando. You know, I've not been to it yet, but I heard it's like great. Um, but yeah, the turnover rate. I mean, you get to know somebody, start getting to know the crew, and then wham, it's a whole new 5 or 6 new guys from NXT, and then NXT refills with new people. You know, you just can't keep up. Back then, you were around for a little while. You know, you was there for a few years before the events would call you in. He called Jake in one time, and I was riding with Jake at the time, Jake Snake. Called him in and he said, yeah, and I knew Jake had a meeting because we were riding together. And he said, I got to meet with Vince. I don't know what this is going to be. And I'm like, well, shit, it should be good. Maybe he's going to put you in another good storyline. Jake came out that night and we got in the car and he wasn't talking, but he was like, I said, what happened? He goes, well, Vince looked at me and said, Jake, what do you do with a good book when you finish reading it? Oh my God. That was his way of telling Jake, we're done with you for now. I told Jake, I said, tell him you read it again if it's good enough. Shit. But that's how he told Jake, that you don't have
what do you
room for
think
you.
about Jake going on? He's on his 6th year of AEW now. He's been there since the start. They just renewed his contract. He looks so happy in all of the
Well, he
pictures
should be if
that
he's
we
got the
see.
contract. I mean, he don't. I've seen him twice on AEW, and I didn't even know he had that contract. I think you told me. I didn't even know he had it.
His
But
ex-wife came back to him too. Surprise,
Cheryl,
surprise. Yeah, he's back with
wow,
her.
oh,
Good,
that's
good
good.
for him.
Yeah, definitely,
But let's
definitely.
get you in there. Fans bug Tony Khan. Let's get Marty in there.
Well, Billy
You
Gunn.
managing someone would actually be entertaining, to be honest with you.
What's that?
You manage, like, they have so many people not over in AEW. Like, you
Yeah,
putting you with a young guy, I mean, that seems like a no-brainer.
yeah, I'd be good with it. I mean, I'd be happy with it. But I told Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn and I we were. He lived in Orlando when I did. He probably still lives there. But we used to ride to the airport together and back. Back from the airport. And ride together on the road. And when they were smoking guns, him and Bart Gunn. But we were all pretty close. And when I heard he was in AEW, he was going to be there. I hit him up with a Facebook email and said, "Hey man, look, I've straightened up. I'm not the screw up I used to be. And man, can you put a word in for me as far as man? I'll train the kids. I'll be an agent. I'll work if y'all want me to. At that point, I could still get in the ring. The ankles had not, ruined so bad. Never heard back from him, so I wrote him another one. Said, "Did you get my other email?" Never heard back from him. So I just like, okay. I guess I don't know what at that time. I think he was going to be an agent at first, and then he got involved with doing matches. But I don't know if what happened. I don't know if he thought
He's on
not
his
much.
6th year too. I mean, he's one of the guys on the gravy train that they don't use for much, but he's doing
He
more
was
than
there from the beginning, wasn't he?
yeah, and he's still. I think he manages his kids, which
Yeah,
he also got his kids hired. Which again, one reason I could see why he wouldn't help you, it's because like he's kind of on that gravy train. And he's like, let's not get too many of us in
yeah.
this
That's what I was
generation.
thinking too. That's exactly what I thought. I thought, yeah, he don't want me coming in and challenging. Maybe thinks I'm challenging for his position, which I wouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't even think of that. But I mean, who knows what? I know Jeff Jarrett, when they were doing, Jeff Jarrett and I were real close. And he was spending the night with me in Orlando at my house when we would be anywhere near Orlando. We'd go to my house, stay there, and party and cut up and, had some fun, some crazy fun. But I called him. I hadn't talked to him in a while, and it was, I think, the year 2000, which is right when they started, I believe. What was it, TNA? And I called him just to say hey,
TNA,
and
yeah.
yeah,
Right after
and
WCW closed, so around 2002.
okay, yeah, that sounds about right. But so I called him and say hey, I haven't talked because it'd been like 3 or 4 years since we said hello to each other, and he didn't call back. And I again called him the second time because I thought, oh, maybe I didn't leave my phone number. So I called back and left the number. Said, hey, I don't know if I left your number, or whatever. And he never called back. And then I hear that he's running TNA, and I thought that fucker thinks I was calling for a job, son of a. And that's what he's going to do, just ignore me, shit. And yeah, we still stayed close friends. Well, good friends, not close, but yeah, that kind of hurt your feelings a little bit, right? You got a good buddy there, and he thinks you're calling for a job rather than just calling saying hello, so he don't answer you. So I'm like, gosh, damn, Jeff, that's kind of harsh, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I remember one time I booked him for my company around 2007, and he showed up at the show after taking the full amount in advance, and the business class flight said, I don't feel like wrestling. I just want to interfere. So, of course, I got all the heat from the fans because he was supposed to
He,
wrestle Christian. And yeah, they never forgave me for that. They acted like I was the one that orchestrated that. No, he didn't want to wrestle. What am I supposed to say when he has the money?
right? Yeah, he called his own shot, huh? He's like, no, I'll just do this.
Yeah. So he came out and he attacked Christian and they fought to the back. He did like a 2-minute thing.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
then the
let me
fans
ask.
were like, what? He was here and he didn't wrestle? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, that's something. Let me ask you something. And if you're not comfortable talking about it or can't or whatever, just tell me that'd be fine. But I told you the other day when we were talking, I didn't realize you were in the dark side of the ring thing, and I guess on Abdullah's. You okay to talk about that or no? Or
Sure.
you rather not? Um, what exactly what happened there? Because from what I got, the way I understood it, it had to do with blading, and that either you bladed somebody and you were not, used to doing that, or
No, they
something. But
didn't. They didn't explain it very well because they were trying to present me as the heel in it. But what happened was I had a match with him,
yeah,
and like if two people are bleeding,
yeah,
there's about a 5% chance if one of them has Hep C,
yeah,
like Abdullah had, because when you're blading, your
yeah.
blood is bleeding outwards.
Right, you're getting all of
You're using your own razor blade. But what he
yeah,
did in this match, I had already bladed myself,
yeah.
and he had took the same razor blade that he had already used on himself, and he had Hep C. He knew he had it.
I
He's
didn't
just an
know that.
idiot. And then oh yeah, I got his blood records, and he was found guilty in both Canada and the U.S. And
Oh
then
yeah, I saw they showed. I think they said that on there. Yeah,
he stuck the same, and people get confused. Like, here's where it got more dangerous, and he didn't do this to everybody, but he took the same blade that had been in him, and then he stuck the same blade in me, which is like
yeah,
sharing a needle, which is
yeah.
exactly how you catch stuff. And then when I got signed by WWE, I find out that my contract's not going to go through because I failed the test for
Oh
hepatitis
really?
C, and we were able to trace it back. So he actually ended up costing me
A
my
career.
WWE run. Yeah. So people can say, "Oh, he would have done good. He would have done bad." Well, people can say whatever they want. He took away my chance,
Yeah,
and then
and that's all you.
after that, I got cured, but I'm looked at as damaged goods.
Yeah, that
So
sucks, man. He's from down here in Georgia, and him and Jerry Oates were good friends. So when I was breaking into business, I'd see him all the time. We called him Spanky. He, Spanky. He was a character, man. I mean, I love him to death. We just saw him shit about 6 months ago, at some signing. We all hugged up and loved him to death. But I didn't. When I heard about that with you, I thought, well, shit, man, that's rough. And I think New Jack before he died was talking, bad about Abdullah for doing that. I can't remember, what I was said. New Jack was my boy, man. I miss him. But he was upset about that too. That
I
Abdul
mean,
would
there's
do
no
that.
question he's a nice guy, but the thing was, according to his records, he knew for at least 10 years he had it, and he didn't have to bleed every match. Like the other guy could have just bled, and he sure
Yeah,
as hell didn't have to cut me. But I guess once you get in the habit of cutting, you just
yeah.
become, and you've seen it. He's not the only one. Some people just get obsessed with cutting,
Well, he
and he's
obviously
one of them.
was. I mean, when I used to do it up in the hairline, just right in the hairline, and just get it right. It'll come. It'll cover. I used to cover my face, but it wasn't right on my head where you could see it, and you know, a fan or even a family member like, what's that? How'd that happen? Where you got to explain. Oh, I got ran into a. We had a cage match, and I got raked with. I always put it in the hairline so you couldn't see it really. But I mean, with him, he just do it with razors on a couple of fingers, and just you see them big grooves he's got in his head. I mean, he went deep with it. Um, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, I guess he was maybe addicted, to that. I mean, I know he wanted to put on the best show and scare everybody, which he did. Man, I remember one time in Atlanta, we were doing a show, and it was a lumberjack. I was on the outside, and him and whoever he was wrestling that night, he rolled out the ring, and we're supposed to throw him back in, and so grabbing him, and he started that squeal. He go, yeah, yeah, it sounded like a pig thing, and it was like, oh my god, I had to back off because that squeal was worse than him breaking his head full of blades. But you also, I think, was it New Jack? Somebody told me, I didn't know this either, that with his blades, he would use the same blade for a week. He'd use it over and over and over
Yeah, he
instead
had
of
a
making
little
a new one.
circular jar that looks like something you put shoe polish in, and he would
Yeah,
take it off his finger after and put it back in. So who knows how many times he used them. He
yeah,
was
that's
very
crazy.
cheap. For somebody that claims he's poor, he made a hell of a lot of money, and he
Well,
was very cheap his whole career.
he did real good in the restaurant business because he had a barbecue place up in Atlanta, and
He
then
had
he opened a
three.
second one. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
okay, he
he
had
ended
three.
up having
I knew
three. Yeah.
he opened the second one, so he had to be doing good. On the show, he said he couldn't read. Remember, he didn't know anything about the lawsuits and all that because he can't read. Yeah,
The thing
that
is, you were, and I'm sure you've been served before.
more than
You're
once.
served by a process server for a lawsuit that comes and you have to sign for it and it's
Yeah,
officially served. It's not like, oh, I couldn't read. I don't read any of my mail. And I found out about it after. And the lawsuit started in 2009 and ended in 2016. So this
damn,
was a long process. He had 5 different lawyers.
damn.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
I've
you got to
even
have
got a
money
ton
for
of.
that.
By the way, I'll throw up his blood work for anyone that doesn't, that thinks I'm making it up because it's going to be on Marty's channel too. I mean, he clearly had hepatitis C. I mean that's
Man,
his
and
blood work.
he knew it though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he would. Yeah,
And for the people that say, "Oh, Hannibal could have had it," I was tested just before that match, and it
yeah,
showed up that I didn't have it.
right.
And I'm not the one bleeding every match with the career starting in the '60s. And he wrestled a lot of guys that, like Billy Graham had it. He wrestled Billy Graham 9 times. He bled with a lot of people that also could have had it. Jacques Rougeau had it at one point.
Oh,
They
really?
had a
I
lot of
didn't know
bloody
that.
matches in Montreal. And I'm not saying that everyone that wrestles him could be contracted, but with me, because of the sharing of the blade, it
Yeah.
made it that more obvious. But he is, as I said, he was I looked at him as a mentor and like a grandfather type figure. I
Well, that's
actually
what it
liked
looked
him.
like when you came out to the ring with him on the dark side when you like came out with him, I think.
Yeah, we
And
were a
that's what,
tag team a bunch of times too.
yeah. So it looked
Yeah.
like that, like you were like looking at him as a mentor. That's what,
He screamed when he found out I was signed by WWE.
yeah.
He literally screamed on the phone. He was so happy because
Oh
we were
yeah.
that close friends.
Oh, that's
But
wild.
I guess he didn't realize he had infected me, or he was hoping he didn't, or whatever. He doesn't. Or when you're old, like when he was the last match he had with me was 68. I mean,
Yeah.
you just don't. You have a different mentality. You don't think about
Right.
transmitting stuff. But
Well, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, it's a, it's embedded in him that's his character. We're all going to bleed. That's, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, he can't do arm drags, drop kicks. I mean, so he's got to, I mean, not much you can do. I remember one time in the dressing room, he was like, Marty, how you doing, Marty? I sat right next to him. He's putting his boots on. And by the time he got the first one on, he had to sit back and he was breathing hard and sweating. I'm like, holy shit.
Did he have that giant shoehorn by that time? Because in the last couple times I used him, he had like this 3-foot long shoehorn because he was so fat. He couldn't bend over to tie his shoes. So I don't know, it's funny.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he had that. He just was putting his shoe on and lacing up, and had to take a break before he put the other one on. And I'm thinking, how the hell is he going to do anything in the ring when putting his boot is blowing him up? But yeah,
he did. I'll tell you a funny story though. Someone brings up the coffee pot thing. I wrestled him once, and he convinced me to let him hit me with a coffee pot, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry. The coffee pot is just going to shatter and you're still going to have to blade." Well, little did I know that these coffee pots, because hot coffee goes in them, they're made with something stronger than actual glass. So it caused me to get 68 stitches in my head. And here's the funny part, though. I had to go to the hospital after he did that.
That's not funny.
I had to pay a $250 ambulance fee. Then we find out it was one of my shows. So he had stole the coffee pot, which I should have guessed from his hotel room. So then I end up with a $45 fee for this fucking coffee pot. But yeah, he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it, champ. It's just going to smash. I'll hit you right. It'll just break into smithereens." It felt like somebody took a blowtorch to my head.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. The medic said if we didn't stop the match when we stopped it, that they were actually going to come in and stop it because they thought I was going to bleed.
It was that bloody, huh?
Oh, yeah, it was great. But here's the funny part. I was such a party animal in those days. Yeah. I got stitched up. Then we had free drinks at the bar that night. I go to the bar, and then the bar, there's a fight that happens. I get involved in it. It loosens the stitches. I start bleeding again. Then I go back and have sex with the girl in the hotel. But it was summer and it was dark. So I'm thinking I'm just sweating all over her.
Right.
We turn on the light. It looked like a pig. A pig had been slaughtered in the bed.
Damn, man. And too, when you drink, your blood will thin, so it'll really come out. Some of the guys, when they were going to juice, they would have a shot or two of something because it thins your blood out a bit, and it'll come a lot better. But yeah, there was when I was in Kansas City, and I can't remember. He just was passing through it. He had like what you just said. Same kind of thing, except he would butt the headboard because he'd already got color that night at the show. He'd be on top of the girl and he'd butt his head so that it would pour all over. And then he would do the Simply thing. Oh, God. The girl would just freak out because blood's just pouring all over. But, yeah, that's what that reminded me of.
I'll tell you the funniest story about Abdullah, though. I wrestled him once in Toronto. A lot of these indie shows, there's just like one bathroom and you share it with the guys and girls, and then
with the fans too.
Yeah, he comes out. Okay, he just splashed water on himself because he's covered in blood, and then he's completely naked. He opens the door, and the girls in the dressing room start screaming, and he's like, "What? You can't see anything." Because his fat hangs over his. He actually told me he hadn't had sex in decades. They could only get hand jobs.
There. Well, yeah, that's one thing. We had a guy when in AWA days, the Earthquake Ferris is what he went by, and he was big like that, and his girlfriend was big like that. And Kurt Hennig was always going to pry him. How do y'all have sex? How does your belly's not in the way? And he went to tell us how they pile pillows up in certain ways so that she's arched up, and he had to explain that it was a process for them to have sex. And so I could imagine.
And the funniest part is he ends up getting divorced from his wife because he was cheating on his wife with the woman that he now calls his nurse. So a guy that big was cheating on his wife.
That's something.
Yeah.
That was a thing too when I was on the road steadily with WWF and WWE. Man, there was not that many guys. We'll go back to the WWF days. There was not that many guys that weren't married. I mean, of course, there was a few, and that's the ones I tried to hang out with because, I do a lot of things wrong. Sometimes I know I'm doing them wrong. Sometimes I don't even realize it's wrong. But the one thing that I would always promise myself was that once I was married, not going to mess around, because to me that's like you were joined by the universe, or whatever you want to call it, God, universe, nature, whatever. But you joined hearts through the universe, so that's means a lot to go back on that. And so when I would see the guys doing it, I would be just like, oh man, I wish they wouldn't, but I didn't care. I mean, hey, do what you're gonna do. I mean, it ain't bother me, and I'm definitely ain't got to worry about me ratting or anything. I ain't doing that. But yeah, I hated seeing that. It was just like, really, there was only a handful of guys that didn't cheat on their wives. Like Tito Santana was one, Owen Hart.
Tito did, because he ended up having Jenny. I don't know if you know the whole story, but he had an illegitimate child, and he
Really? I
refuses
didn't
to
know that.
acknowledge her. It's been confirmed by the sons. Yeah, and he refuses to acknowledge her because he doesn't want to get in trouble with his current wife, who thinks that she's only after him for his money. She doesn't care about the money.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
so he
didn't know all
wasn't.
that.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he would go out and have a drink here and there with us. So, usually, if the hotel bar was, so when he had a few drinks, he didn't have to drive. He'd just go upstairs, go to sleep. But I mean, I thought he was one of the ones that didn't mess around. But there was just so few. Owen Hart was definitely, family only. Trying to think of who else. There was like three. Well, Randy Savage, of course. I told Randy one time, something about, God, I hate to see the guys that are married, doing all this. And he goes, always remember this, brother. He says, if they're cheating on their wives, imagine what they'll do to you. Like if you were to do any kind of business deal or anything with one of the guys. He said, yeah, if they're going to cheat on, that's their other half. If they're going to cheat on that, he had a good point. He always had good points, man, when he would teach me anything. It's like I told him one time, I said, Randy, Sean is going to his head and he's getting arrogant and cocky that the more we climb the ladder, it's changing him. He goes, no, brother, it didn't change him at all. It just made him comfortable to be who he is. And I thought about that. And that's, makes sense too. That's true too. Oh, Randy was always good, man. He was always, I missed the shit out of him too. A lot of the
Yeah,
guys.
I actually wrestled Jenny at a bar one night. This is Tito's daughter right here. I'm wrestling
Where?
her in a bar.
Right there?
That's her. You see the resemblance of the face.
Yeah. How old is she?
She might kill me for saying this, but 42, I think.
Her?
Yeah, she looks great. She's a jiu-jitsu champion too. She's a world
Really?
champion. Yeah, that's
That's
the
his
funny.
daughter?
Yeah, that's his daughter. Yeah.
Damn. So that would have
Yeah.
been shit before him and I know we all were hanging out. That was
It
like
was around
30.
1980. It happened, I think, in Allentown. So it would have been in the Allentown taping days.
Okay, yeah. So that was around 84. I didn't meet him till 88, I think.
But here's the funny thing: she's a legitimate two-time at least world champion in grappling, and she
world
liked
champion.
wrestling. She
Damn.
wanted, and she tried to get into wrestling for a while, but he wouldn't
They
support it or
wanted
anything, so she got turned off. But it's like he could have got bookings, like managing her and stuff, because she had the potential. But whatever.
Tito, he was another one that he told me about, like he sets a price for his bookings. And if they want to pay him, he'll go. If they don't want to pay him, he don't care. He's like, but he kept getting it. I thought, I don't want to say the price, so I'm not going to say 1,500 at that, but way back then. Um, if they would pay him that, he would go ahead. But I was thinking like, but Tito, that's so much. He goes, Marty, they pay it when you don't need them, they would need you, and it kind of made sense. RVD, my buddy there, gosh, like Tito was 1,500 back when everybody was getting 5 to 1,000, for indie booking. RVD told me, I called him up one time and said, hey man, this guy wants to book you. And I don't know, I don't want to get in the numbers. You handle that. He goes, oh, I can tell you tell him what I want. And I said, gosh, I hate to get involved with the numbers. I go, but what do you want me to tell him? He goes, 20,000. And I'm like, what? And he goes, that's what I tell them. And, if they don't book me, I didn't want to work anyway. And he goes, but when they accept it, I'm like, damn, now I got to go. And I mean, he must get it a lot because I see him on the, at conventions and stuff a lot.
I'll put up something funny for the fans that Tito, speaking of how much he charges, we used him in Great North Wrestling against Jim Neidhart once. Yeah. He actually nailed Tito in the balls. This match only went like 2 minutes, and this was not the finish of the match. Tito just rolled. He got nailed in the balls by a headbutt.
Yeah.
And he just rolls out of the ring and doesn't go back into the ring. And it ended up being a count.
Yeah, you got him pretty good, huh?
For a guy that gets $1,500,
yeah,
he'll just quit on a match like this. And you can see Neidhart actually tries to get him up, but he's like, I'm not getting back in the ring.
When was that?
That was 2007.
2007. When did Anvil die? Like right shortly after that, right?
No, he only died 4 or 5 years ago.
Is that what it was? Okay.
But you see, he refuses to.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere. He's still holding the sack.
There was 1,500 people there.
Really? Shit.
Yeah. It's like he pretty much helped kill the town just by at least roll into the ring and let that was in Calgary area. It's like at least roll in and let Jim pin you.
Yeah, something. That must have really been hurting.
But there's his work ethic, though. Like, let's take maximum amount, and you've probably been hitting the balls before the match. I have too. It's like you could at least finish the match and do the finish.
Yeah, I've really never gotten sacked. I don't think. I can't remember. I mean, if it was ever, there was one time I didn't leapfrog high enough. And I think maybe it was Owen Hart went to go under and he hit my nutsack and it swung around and hit me in the back of the head and that knocked me out. No, that's not true. No, I don't think I ever got nutted in the whole career. A lot of shit happened, knockouts and torn ligaments and broken ankles, but never a nut. Thank God, because it's got to be painful. I don't even know when the last time I got nutted. I think when I was a kid.
I'll just say one funny story about Jim Neidhart. Once he showed up to like a small show in Alberta, and he was on something and he was all wired up, and he gets off and he's like, I'm going to help set up the ring. Let's get these boards on. And he just starts throwing the boards from the ring truck to the ring. And like, this is when he's in his like late 50s or something. He's like, oh, I love doing this. It's a great workout. And I just found it hilarious. Like, he's trying to convince me this is a normal thing that the 50-year-olds help set up the ring.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear he did that, because I have actually done that with a few of the indie shows when I was coming in, and they looked like they were understaffed. There wasn't enough people. I helped them. Bring them. Actually, I think it was tearing it down when we were leaving. I saw that they were struggling to get the shit to the truck, and helped them out. Pretty much until it was all in the truck. And I was dying to hurry up and get out, go out to the club, but I just didn't. I couldn't sit there and watch them struggling like that.
Yeah, that's the motivation. But yeah, you should have just seen how motivated he was. Like he was fired up to get this rig up. It was oh, and actually Abdullah on that show with Cheeto. Here's another funny story. Abdullah had driven from Calgary to this show just outside of Calgary with Jim, and the
Yeah.
next day we had to be in Edmonton. And he said, "Devin, do not put me in a car with Jim for Edmonton." He said, "That's all I'm going to ask you." He talked my ear. Like, I guess he wouldn't shut up. Just
Yeah, well, when he was partying, I don't want his family to hear. Well, I'm sure shit they know. When he would be on the coke, oh my God. he would like I am about to we was riding one time and he looks over at me and he goes, Marty, and then he starts tugging on his mustache or beard there. I got to tell you what I saw today on the way back from the gym. I was like, okay. And he said, well, it was this black dude beating up on his girlfriend out in the open where everybody could see it. I'm like, oh shit, what'd you do? Well, I didn't have no choice. I had to keep riding. But I just wondered what kind of effect did that have on the community? Like, what the fuck? Hannibal, you're putting too much thought into this. That shit happens every day in the hood, man. Just leave it alone.
yeah, he's a great guy.
One time, actually, we roomed together like 2 or 3 times. Everyone hammered every time. I remember waking up one morning, and he's already awake doing this thing, and he's laying there looking up at the ceiling. He's looking around, and I'm watching him do that. I'm like, what are you doing, Hannibal? He goes, this is all very interesting, but this is not our room, is it? And I was like, no, it was those girls from last night. We stayed in their room. But he's looking at the figures on the ceiling or, whatever little designs, and just looking at them all back and forth and all over. And that's how he figured out it's not our room because of that. There's another time, this was like the most funny was, I'm laying there about to go to sleep, and I hear this, and I look, and Hannibal he's got his Halliburton is open, so suitcase is open, and he's peeing in it. And I'm looking at him like, Hannibal, what? I said, you're not in the bathroom. That's your Halliburton. And he looks, he goes, fuck. Good thing I didn't have to shit. And then rolled over and got in bed. I don't know what he did with all of his clothes that got pissed on. But yeah, man, he was different. Loved him to death.
Give it to a rat to clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone wanted me to ask you if you ever wrestled Bret Hart. I'm sure you didn't tag team matches, but did you ever have a single?
Yeah. No, I don't think we ever had a single. We set quite a bit in tag matches. Then a lot of times him and I would get in there, do quite a few spots. But no, never single. I'm sure it would have been good. What we used to call him, was Bret the Hitman Hart. We'd always call him Bret the Stiff Man Hart because he could lay him in there. Especially them kicks to the stomach, like when you're down and give you that boot to the gut. Oh my God. If you had any food, your stomach would come up. But love him to death too.
Supposedly he never hurt anybody though. I mean, there's some documented cases that he did, but he'll insist that he's so proud that he never hurt anybody. But
no, not majorly. He hurt a few people's feelings.
Yeah.
Well,
someone's tipping us $2 here. Thanks for the $2. It wants to know about Giant Gonzalez or Kato from the Orient Express. I think I saw you guys fight the Orient Express live once.
Oh yeah, Kato.
Yeah, on a house show.
What's that?
Didn't you do a house show run with them for a while?
Who, Kato?
Yeah.
With Orient Express? Yeah, he which was Paul Diamond. They took an American boy, put him under a mask, and let him go to Kato, a Japanese guy. Because it was originally Tanaka and Sato. And then Sato had to take off, go back to Japan for whatever reason, bookings. He took over the book over there. And so they replaced him with Kato, which they put, like I said, put the mask over Paul Diamond. And Paul was a character. But we used to have the best matches with them. Tanaka's like the best bumper in the business, and very, very up on the ring psychology. Paul is too, but he was, Pat was in just a different level altogether. Love working with Pat. In fact, if I were to have one more match, it would only be with Pat. It's that easy to work with. And, as my ankles are now starting to get better, and I can bounce around a little bit, I keep thinking, just like this coming weekend in Milwaukee for that Blizzard Brawl, I keep thinking, man, maybe I should get a spot where I go in, to break something up or, whatever, and take a couple bumps. It's like,
There's
you
a
can do it
poster
one
for
more
it, by the
time.
way.
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt, but it
that's
looks like
it.
it's a packed card.
Yeah, it is. Sabu's there. Braun, what's his name? Braun Strowman. Braun
Roman,
Strowman.
looks like some of the beautiful people. Velvet Sky, and that looks like Angelina Love.
Yeah, my boy Mike, Mean Mike from Disorderly Conduct and Texas Hangman. He was telling me, gosh, man, you're going to see Velvet Sky. Man, that's the best. Something about her. He was going crazy, and I couldn't remember.
She's
like
single
I knew
now
the name.
too, isn't she? Didn't she just break up with Bubba Ray?
Her?
I heard. Yeah.
I think I heard that. Yeah, I think
You're taken though now. You're taken though now.
Who, me?
Yeah, right.
Different understanding. But by the way, look, if y'all want anything made like knick-knack paddywhacks or whatever, Miss Radical Addy can make stuff like carte, anything you want on it. So I got Party with Marty stuff. And these things here, I forgot what they're called, tumblers. She makes those like my coffee cup here. Just that, like mouse, like all kinds of trinket things that you might want. And if you do, go here to kpopcrazy.com. It's krazy.com. Yeah, she can make up t-shirts, book bags. I got one on the wall there. Just about anything. And, she can make things that you won't be able to find in stores. If you want something goofy, like you go F yourself, she can do that. I mean,
will she make a custom dildo, a Marty Jannetty dildo for your female fans?
I think she has one in there. Hey, Miss Radical, we got a request.
It's not for me, but I'm sure you have. You said your number was around 5,000. Maybe for some of those that didn't quite make the cut.
Awesome. So
he wanted to know, could you customize a dildo?
I can put anything you want, any image, anything you want.
That's what I was telling him. I showed all this.
It can be done.
What,
when, where, why, and I will let you know.
You close the door. That's enough.
By the way, I got my get out of jail free card, and I'm ready when you are.
Yeah. Hey.
All right. Well, we'll have to have you back on again sometime, and I know this is going to go on your channel too.
Yeah.
The Party with Marty podcast, but the fans love interacting with you. And I
love interacting with them too. My Facebook account has been taken down. I don't know if it's permanent. I hope
had
not.
Like 3 people ask about that today. So
yeah, I guess evidently I got drunk and I had a lot going on that week and I got hammered. Got into the bottle. When I do drink now, I try to stick with beer and not a whole lot of it, but beer. But I got into the bottle of Jack Daniels for about 3-4 straight days. And that's when I used to go to Facebook and write some ridiculous shit. And evidently I did. I tried to get in touch with them and find out, well, what was it? Because they didn't. They usually let you know what it was you did. It goes against community standards. because they didn't tell me. So I was trying to find out, and it was a 6-month suspension. Now I've gotten 30s. I think everybody's used to 30s or a week, but 6 months, shit. I don't know. I got to try to get that back though, because for the Party with Marty podcast, that's mainly what I advertised on. Used it to advertise, and I've really got no way of advertising right now, except for here, Party with Marty again Thursday nights at 10 o'clock. And might as well get one done now. I was trying to wait till I there's just a few things. Here's something. I know we got to hurry. Here's something I can't figure out, because we've been down for, I don't know, about a month and 6 weeks almost, maybe, and because we've had to make some changes on things, and but I don't know what to do. Do I want to come back and just stay with Party with Marty, or do I want to come back and change it up a little bit, say Party with Marty 2.0, or I don't know, Party with Marty Light, or what Savage had recommended was just say it's season 2. So I don't know how that works. Season 2, episode 1, or season 2, and did you pick up on episode 40 or whatever we were up to? I don't know though. What do you think?
I think season 2 is good.
You do? Okay. So we might do that. We'll probably do that then. Because, I don't want to lose the whole Party with Marty thing. I lost Facebook. That kind of crushed me, man, because it took me forever. I know it's not many, but like 45,000 followers. And more so than that is upsetting is my pictures. I got all these pictures on there. And I mean, like probably 1,000 pictures. And some of them are sentimental to me. And, I don't have them anywhere but there. And gosh, I don't want to lose that, I mean, the old posts and stuff, I like to go back and read them sometimes and look and see what girls are on there that I haven't spoke to, stuff like that. But more so than anything is the pictures. I don't want to lose the pictures. I don't want to lose the site. Somebody said, just start another one, but that's going to start back at zero people, 0 followers. And then how did I get the word out? Okay, I'm out here again. But yeah, hopefully they'll let me back on. I don't know. And hopefully it's not 6 months, because that's wow.
Yeah, that's a long way to wait. But we're always here to help you with the YouTube side of it.
I appreciate
As
that
things
too.
go forward, and you are one of the nicest guys in wrestling. I'll put you up there with Hillbilly Jim, Don Morocco. I would say he's in the top for me, anyways. But
Yeah, he was always nice. So was Hillbilly. Hillbilly's great.
Billy Graham was always nice to me too. So at least in my dealings with him, I'll put him up there. But there's not a lot of wrestlers that I will say are not greedy or are not incredibly selfish. And you're actually transparent. People may not like me, but I don't lie. I don't suck up. I'm honest if I like it or not. But you're nicer than me, but you also tell the truth and you don't hide anything about yourself. So I like that about you.
That's why I really scared to put this book out. I'm almost finished. I've been working on it. One of my buddies, old Mean Mike, he's like, well, you got some great stories I can't wait to read, but I guess I'm going to have to wait till the year 2050 before you finish it. Because I've been working on it for a while. It's just I got ADHD, and I just can't. I'll sit down and write and type up some shit for about an hour, and then I'm just like that. And then I don't even want to mess with it for another week, and it ain't never going to get done that way. But there's some good stories, and then there's some I want to make sure it's okay, like from the people that it involves. Like for an example, if I wanted to, tell a Jake the Snake story with the snake, I think I've told that one on here before, right? Where the office had just give us a memo about not fraternizing with the office personnel.
You haven't. You did not.
No, yeah, we just got a memo, and they, we stay away from office girls, for the guys. I don't know if Sonny was told to stay away from the guys, but This is back when it was only like Sonny, Sable, Sherry was still around, I think. But it was mostly for the guys, So I don't know why that is. I don't know who all was messing with office people. I accidentally was seeing somebody. But so anyway, Jake.
Was it Lisa Wolf by any chance?
Who? No.
Lisa Wolf.
Yeah, I'm not going to say Nicole's name, but they. So I know Jake pretty good, and when he was doing the cocaine, he starts whispering. And is at the Howard Johnson's we used to stay at in Revere, Boston, or outside of Boston. And he gives me a call to my room, and he goes, "Marty, I'm in room 222 or whatever it was." And then him whispering, I'm like, "Okay, he's got the shit. Let me get over there." I said, "I'll be right there, brother." And I come over, and he's got the latch. He's already got the door to where I can just push it open. And push the door open. This little hallway before you get to the room. And he's sitting right there at the table as I open the door. He's sitting there naked. And he said, "Go get her for me." And I'm like, "Oh, he's got a girlfriend." Okay. And we did things like that back then. As I come around the corner and I look, not only is it an office girl that we just got the memo on, she's got the snake, and she's got the tail end of it, using it like you said, dildo, using it like that, and scales were all around her, all just covered around the bed. And I was looking at that, and I'm like, no. Well, them scales like that, and then there's got to be some up in her. I mean, nah. That's all right, Jake. Just give me some.
You need a movie. You need a movie, not a book. You need a Hollywood movie.
But yeah, man, that was craziness. But
well, I know.
But it's like if I wanted to tell that story is actually in the book, but I want to clear it with Jake first. I don't want nobody getting in trouble, or like I had told Scott Steiner. I said, "Hey, I'm doing the book. I'm right at the point where you stayed at the house with that girl that night, which it was the one that broke in the house. Her name, I'm not going to say her name. It was Leslie, but she Scott was spending the night, and I told her to pick up Scott and Rick, from the airport and let them stay at the house. And, I wanted to test her out and see how much I could trust her. So I told Scott, I said, well, shit, I can't be saying it out here either because it just gets around. I forgot. We'll change the names to protect the innocent. I told this one guy, we'll say it was Dr. Yankum, told him, try to get with her, see what she does. And he goes, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to see if she's, if she goes with you, fine. At least I'll know, But she did pick Dr. Yankum and them up and stay at the house. And, sure enough, Dr. Yankum tried to mess with her, and she was going for it. According to the story, she was going for it, and then she kind of got scared and backed off. And then, when I called, I had forgot all about it. When I called the next day to talk to her from the road, she was like, that's we were doing 2-3 towns a night, so shows different. We had A team, B team, C team. So, they were in Orlando and I was somewhere else. So I called home and she goes, "Marty, Dr. Yankum tried to rape me." I'm like, "What?" And then I remembered, oh shit, I forgot I told him try. But I thought, gosh, that's a little bit much trying to rape her. And I talked to him, but I was like, "What are you doing? What did you do?" And he told me, he goes, "No, it wasn't like that. She got in bed with me and rubbed my back, and I rolled over. Then she started getting scared after a while, and then she took off. She wasn't no trying to rape nobody, but yeah, that was it." But and again, I actually went up to Dr. Yankum and said, "Hey, that story about the time, that goofy thing we did, testing a girl to see if she was trustworthy." I said, "That's that's in I was putting that in the book. Are you okay with that?" And he goes, "Marty, some of the things we did back then, we now got family." So that was basically his nicest way of him saying, don't. That's why I say now I'm out here talking about it anyway. So, but that was
Yeah, but when
way
it's in
back.
a book, it's different.
Yeah, I guess.
And you've really documented it.
Yeah. Dr. Yankum was, we were still good friends, but we used to ride together, so we were kind of close at the time. But yeah, man, those were the fun days back. They were way back, way back. So anybody wanting to get upset today, yeah, remember those was it was like it just shows you how old I am. Besides this light that shows that
Last thing, tell us something bad about the Red Rooster. Is there any bad stories you could share about him? Because he seems
Red
like
Rooster
yeah.
when he came in, when he first came in, Sean and I knew him from Tennessee wrestling. We were down there for a little while, and he was booking. So when he came in, we were already there as the Rockers. He came in when they brought him in. He come in his suit, and he came and sat with us. And Pat Patterson came over to him. Teddy, you notice you're wearing this suit? We don't do that here. We like to spritz off and look like you just came from the ring. And Terry goes, yeah, everybody does that. That's why I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna wear a suit. And we were like, oh my God. I was like, God, I don't believe you just said that to Pat Patterson. Because Pat was second in power at that time. And yes, the next day he had that red mohawk because I guess he was so cocky they made him the Red Rooster. He fucking hated it. He went with it best he could. His interviews, he would do stuff, incorporate, terms that would fit. Like, I'm excited, cock of the walk and all that stuff. He tried, but he hated that character.
What was worse, the Gobbledygook or the Red Rooster? That would have been a good tag team.
Ooh, that's a toss-up right there. Wrestling-wise, what's his name? Guerrero was great. But,
yeah. And he's better remembered.
What's that?
More people remember the Gobbledygooker because it was so promoted.
Out there. And I think that was what a Survivor Series or something.
1990. I think you were still around then. You were around then. Yeah. You were in that Survivor Series.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I was there. We weren't told. Most of the boys weren't told. Who's coming out. We just knew somebody was in there, but just the way it was presented, it was like, man, we were all so embarrassed. Like, oh my God, this is horrible.
What was your theory before? Because we've heard the Undertaker now say he thought it was going to be him. Did you have any theory like before you found out what it was about what was going to hatch out of this egg?
No, I just knew it was going to be one of the boys. Just didn't know which one. And Guerrero. Which Guerrero? What's his name? Well, anyway, the older Guerrero, Hector, yeah. He nicest guy in the world, great worker. But that was his introduction to WWE. He wasn't there. I thought it would take one of the guys already there and put him in, Deg. But no, that was his introduction to WWF. And wow, that's just I don't know, man. It wasn't. It just. You were embarrassed to be a part of the team. Actually, it was like that, almost like Brother Love. But although Brother Love made it work,
they promoted that for weeks and weeks.
The Gobbler.
Well, I just remember on every Superstars episode, we saw this egg, and everybody was so excited to see what was going to come out of it.
And then it was that, If I remember right, too, he had feathers everywhere, like a gobbledygook.
Someone did. I've never heard of this, and we really got to go. I know your wife or your girlfriend's going to kill me, but someone says he made a film called The Rockers, and some WWE stopped it. I never heard of this.
That's news. That's news to me.
All right, there we go. So you're not on Facebook at the moment. You got your party with YouTube. Is that Twitter legitimate? Jannetty?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, but see, I ain't got many people on it because I don't know how to navigate. The same thing with Instagram. I don't know how to navigate on there very well, so I just kind of stayed with Facebook mostly. But I do want to say that the barbershop window, man, that was a success because this last appearance I did. Look at this thing, man. They it's like a pin, like you pin on your shirt or whatever. It is just me hanging through the window. I mean, it's just crazy the stuff that people come up. There's actually a place in Connecticut. I don't know if it's still there, but it's the name of it was the barbershop window, and they sold wrestling memorabilia and stuff like that. But it's just like, wow, that barbershop window thing, man, it's everywhere. You know, it was like over 30 years ago. It was 91, in the 91, beginning of 92. How many years is that? Oh, 2, 30 something, 2 years, 33.
Yeah, 30. And someone just asked earlier too, do people still ask you about it? And I just didn't ask you because obviously they do, but there's your answer.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, brother. Yeah, stay in touch and we'll do this some more. Maybe we'll have a question and answer with the fans one day. You know?
Very good, because there was a lot of fan questions we didn't get to, but I'll let you wrap this up with whatever you want to say, and give me a fist when you're done so I don't cut you off like last time.
Okay. Again, kpopcrazy.com, kpopcrazy with the K's. You know that where that came from is Miss Radical Addie loves the Korean music. That's what the K-pop is. And man, I have to hear it all the time, and I started liking it. I hear it so much. But yeah, that's for anything you want made, like we were showing earlier: coffee cups, T-shirts, hats, book bags, license plates, coffee cups. I said, but and then like little necklaces and wristlets, and different designs. If you go to the K-pop crazy, you'll see the lineup what she's got. So yeah, that, and I'm gonna eventually, I hope, to get back on Facebook, so y'all can get in touch with me there. But and for the time being, try to hit me up on. I guess I'll start messing with it. I guess it's called X now. It used to be Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, X. So hit me up with there or Instagram, and we'll try to build up again. It was starting over. It sucks because that was a 13-year, 14-year build up on Facebook. To just lose it overnight really sucks. But that'll teach me to stay away from drinking and liquor, where it should. But also can make little trinkets like this, like the WWF title belt key ring. Key rings. I mean, like I said, go to the site. Again, one more time. Go to the site and there's a whole bunch of what she makes and can make, and then you can order from there. But outside of that, then this weekend, when's this air? Is this airing now? Or
Yeah.
oh,
It's
we're
on
live
right
oh,
now, yeah.
Hey y'all.
On Facebook, on my Facebook at least, and YouTube. So it's airing in 2 places.
Damn, I cussed too much, didn't I?
Well, you know what? That kicks between the drugs and the cussing, it will affect the monetization unless I go back and bleep it all out. But for some people, you just can't do that because people want to hear those stories.
Yeah, I mean, it's reality. I mean, it's what happened. It's in the past. My cat Swaggy told me the other day. He said, "Look, if you have a great future, you can forget about your past." So I'm trying to make my future really, really bright, so I can forget about the past mistakes. But outside of that, rocking and rolling, strutting, strolling, slamming, jamming, moving and grooving, taking care of business, and having good times.